Aloha, this is Marty Thomas with Surfboard Factory Hawaii. It is our pleasure to have Chris Christenson here on Oahu shaping this week. Chris, welcome.
Yeah, it's good to have you.
Thanks so much for having me here. I'm so stoked. I really love this factory, very professional. It's like a dream factory. This is how I'd like to build my own factory one day. It's great being here. I love Hawaii. I've been coming out here shaping for almost 30 years now, and it's good to be back.
Awesome, it's great to have you. We're going to talk about a few of your models today that you've been shaping this week. First up is the lane splitter. Why don't you tell us what was the inspiration for the board, who's it meant for, and where should you ride it?
Yeah, the lane splitter, my initial inspiration was I wanted to fill the gap with something in between a fish and a performance board. And
more pulled in tail then?
Yeah, more pulled in tail. I still use the same low airplane wing rails I use on my fish. More rocker, slightly narrower plant shape, a little more pulled in tail. Just add more radius than what the fish had, because the fish are designed to go fast and down the line with not much radius in your turns, but that's the whole style of them. I wanted to get more of that twin fin feel and that initial squirt and drive of a fish, but yet that nice radius and responsiveness of a performance board.
And what size do you typically recommend for this model?
For lane splitters, there's two variations. There's the swallowtail and the squash tail, and both of those, I usually recommend 2 to 4 inches below your height, depending on your ability. And novices can go at their height or even, longer, but for people that are in the water 3 to 5 days a week, I usually recommend going 2 to 4 inches below your height. If you're generally surfing beach breaks, I recommend the squash tail. If you're generally surfing reef breaks, go with the swallowtail, or a good travel board would be the swallowtail as well. But the different feeling is so minute. I recommend either my FCS twin fin or my Futures. If you want to add a little stability, you can order them custom with the trailer fin, but I think the twin fin is the best overall performance for the model. Or some people like to, tighten up their turns a little bit and then add the stabilizer.
Awesome, that's a lane splitter. So next up is the fish. Explain what we got here.
Yeah, this is my traditional fish. Volume 1 right here. I was first inspired around 1995-96, searching for Tom Curran with Tom Curran riding that skip right fish, and no one was really riding them. There's a few people where I was in Sunset Cliffs at the time riding them, but I was drawn to it, and I'm like, Skip, I gotta get one of these boards. And I ordered one, the exact same dims. That I still have that board today.
Classic.
And it ended up being the only board I rode for a year.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like it was right for me to go ahead and make one at the time without Skip's permission. So I like, Skip, can I do my own version of this? I'm a shaper. Da, da, da. He's like, oh yeah, I'd be stoked. So this basically started around 96, 97 when I started building these. And not a whole lot has changed. I feel like any passionate surfer should have a fish in their quiver.
Right.
They've been often mistaken for grovelers or small wave boards, but these things will go on anything.
Well, as you saw with Tom Curran, in search of Tom Curran, I mean, he was surfing 8 to 10 foot Indo, barreling waves, flying down the line, and actually holding it on rail and doing full roundhouse cutbacks as well. So these boards are really fun in small, waist-high surf, knee-high surf, head-high surf, but they can also handle and bigger surf as well.
They have a lot of gears. What really sets this fish apart is the low rails. If you look at a fire jet wing, that's the way I shape these rails. It's a real straight outline, so the radius is tighter, and I always tell people how you get these things to lighten up in the radius is go as short as possible. The volume on these, it's intimidating. This thing's only a 5'6", 20 3/4 by 2 7/16, yet it's 32 liters, almost 33 liters. So you don't want to get caught up in matching your daily driver performance board volumes with, like I classify these as alternatives. General rule of thumb, you're going to want volume up on an alternative. On the traditional fish, I recommend 4 to 6 inches below your height on an average to above average surfer that's in the water a lot.
And twin fin only, right?
Straight keel fin, glass-ons. Again, I do them in FCS or Futures. This thing's a drag racer. It's meant to go down the line and fast, and it does exactly that.
Cool. Well, that's the fish. Thanks for showing it. Now we're going to go to the acid fish. Something kind of evolved into this from that fish. A little narrower, perhaps a little longer.
Yeah, so from the fish, I always like trying to get things in between things. I wanted this to do a little more of this and all that. I ran with this fish for so long, and I'm keeping the traditional fish in my staple. But I started wanting appealing to guys like tour surfers and stuff like that because I felt like too many of them were writing off fish in general. So, and I feel like some fish, you know, I knew there was some volume to be taken out and to more or less add a little caffeine to the model. The main difference in my acid fish to the traditional fish, more curve in the outline, slightly pulled back, a wide point to add a little more radius in turns and to assist at backside, because fish generally have
That's true, right?
Achilles heel going backside, mainly because how straight they are. And then to hide volume, it's actually got a step deck. I actually scoop foam out of the nose. So this one here is 5.6, the same exact dims as the 5.6 traditional fish right there, but this one's only 28.9 liters. So you almost can go liter to liter on your performance boards.
So you can bury the rail more, dig it deep on the bottom and off the top.
Yeah, and then what's really different is the bottom. It's a reverse V. It's almost like a boat bottom, inspired by Maurice Cole. Again, going back to Tom Curran, the famous yellow rail backdoor shot. A lot of people get bad habits in surfing fish off their front foot. This reverse V makes you surf off your back foot.
Well, I think surfers are a little scared to apply the pressure on the back foot, thinking it's going to pop out.
Yeah, and I always set my fins back on a fish. My fish will not skip out. Like, I almost run them kind of tight, because usually with fin placement, fast is stiff, loose is slow.
Right.
So you know, to loosen the fin setup, it's going to slow the board down, etc. So I want to make my boards go as fast as possible and liven them up.
So you could ride this fish typically in a better wave. You could take it out to a North Shore wave, Lani Kea or Rocky Point.
Yeah, exactly. It's got a lot more radius in the turn, a lot more caffeinated. It's not as drivey as a traditional fish. If you want something a little more stable and you just want to haul ass, go with the traditional fish and high lines. If you want to add a lot of rail game to your fish surfing but still have that fish feel, go with the acid fish. This bottom setup, I haven't had any complaints, and I finally got like people that were fish haters like Brad Gerlach.
Yeah.
My team rider Rasmus King, Bo Cram, all of them, they're addicts to this board. Like
awesome.
They're riding these more than anything.
And similar fin setup as the fish?
It's about 1 foot overhead and under, run with the keel setup. Again, Futures or FCS carries my signature fins. What my team guys are doing is, once the waves, it squares up or it gets, overhead with a little more juice, then they run the upright twins. The keels of my twins have the same front leading edge. So when you do go to swap it out, it's still going to have that same feel, more or less, but it's going to tighten up the radius. And that wide base, when you get going fast and bigger waves, it tends to load up on rail, that feeling.
Yeah.
So that kind of frees up and decreases the cavitation at speed. At slow speeds, you want the base because that's like your gas pedal.
So fish and acid fish, you're set for small mushy waves, and then the waves get better, you bring out the acid fish.
Yeah, and if, I've always said, it's like, if you're going to go on a surf trip, you can only bring one board, bring a fish.
Yeah, and Tom Curran proved that.
Yeah, it'll do everything for you, plus it goes in a small board bag.
Cool. What's up next? Next up, the longfish.
For all those long rail enthusiasts, obviously the fish and the acid fish were always, a staple in my lineup. A lot of people have been wanting longer and longer rail lines. It's not just a thing for novices or anything like that. There's actually pro surfers like Bo Cram that really like the feel of a long rail. I do too. I like the aesthetic of the drawn out turns. Basically, before I even had the acid fish model, I was doing the long fish with reverse V's. I wanted a really long railed fish that wasn't clunky, no beak noses or extra weight up front. Made one for Bo Cram. I dug out the front end. It's actually got a step deck, volume displaced, and then I put the reverse V bottom in it. It's quite significant,
Oh yeah, it's a lot of V.
Double concave all the way through, and then it flattens out through here. Nailing the apex point where the highest part of the V and all that took a lot of testing between Bo and I, and we got that all dialed in now.
And I noticed the fins are set back again on this fish.
Yeah, I don't consider fish as a retro board.
Right.
To me, they're still a high performance board. Having that fin placed appropriately, not too far up, not too, these things are built for speed. It's all on the bottom contour and the rail line that allows, the different radiuses in the turns.
And so if we were riding like a 5.6 or 5.7 fish for a short board, maybe up to a 6.8, 7.0, 7.2 in the long fish?
I always like to build boards around someone's body weight.
Okay.
And then the length is up to your choice, and get used to it and let it run. Someone could be 5'8" and ride be into the 7.0. There could be someone that's 6'3" and that wants to ride a 6'6" long fish. It's just pick the rail line you want to get used to and dive into it. Bo Cram in the Desert Days edits, he's riding both a 6'4" and a 6'10". And Bo's built pretty much about like me. He's around 5'11". You know, there's a lot of trepidation towards fish going backside and larger surf, and in those Desert Days clips, debunks all that. He's going backside,
really?
6 foot surf. These things go in everything.
Right.
Point breaks, reef breaks, beach breaks, mushy, hollow. They can handle a diverse amount of terrain.
Unreal. Well, that's the long fish.
Next, let's go with the OP3. This is my preferred performance board by my pros and amateurs and novices alike. Real simple concept. I've always been a big fan of swallowtails. My OP line, I call it the Ocean Pro. I only have a 1, 2, 3, and 4. I keep it simple. I don't got all these goofy names with my board models on these. The OP1 is your small wave performance groveler. The OP2 is your performance squashtail. OP3, performance swallowtail. OP4 is performance roundtail. Okay. I just keep it that simple. The OP2, 3, and 4 all have the same profile and rocker. It's just different tail shape.
So each surfer can customize. Yeah. Some prefer swallow, squashtail, thumbtail,
yeah,
or round pin, and all of those tails will work on this model.
All of them, yeah. It's you know, at the end of the day, it's a feel. Like swallowtails are always great for surf trips and a variety of surf. But anyways, this has been the most popular out of my whole performance line and the most preferred performance board for my pro team.
So is this a short board as well as a step up?
This is just a straight up short board. This is your daily driver, you know, a great day, you know, a nice 3 to 4 foot day at Rocky Point, great day at Lowers. This is your daily driver go-to performance.
And thruster or quad, either one?
Running thruster or quad, most guys prefer it as a thruster.
So this is an all-around good short board for
All
a variety
around,
of conditions.
Yeah. Variety of conditions, nothing's extreme on it. There's no extreme nose rocker flips or tail rocker flips. Concave is pretty medium and single concave throughout. Nothing extreme on this board. Really nice clean curve, just meat and potatoes. I'm gonna show you the Carrera. This is
Now that's the step up, right?
This is our step up. So after the OP3, once Rocky Point lights up and sunset and all the spots you had out here and back home, this is our Blacks and Swamis board. This board has been in my lineup for about 15 years. The first one I made was actually for Mark Healy at Pipe, and he got one of the waves of his life out there on this board.
What size do you recall what it was?
That was a 6'10", was the original one, and then Damien Hobgood ordered one, and then Greg Long and all the guys, and Ian Walsh, and I just...
That snowball effect after
Snowball
Healy?
effect from there, yeah. And
so is this the model that Greg Long would ride, say, at Porto?
Yeah, I run the Carrera from 6'3" to 8'0", and that's my one step-up board.
So this would be great for the North Shore.
All sizes, epic North Shore board.
From Rockies to off the wall, Pipe, Sunset.
Yeah, there's no formula on the length, as you know. Like some guys want the paddle and go along a rail. Obviously, that really high-level guys are trying to go as short as they can to get under the hook on their takeoffs. I can't believe you guys are riding 6'3s at Pipe now. It's
6'1s.
6'1s
to 6'3s at 10 to 12 foot Pipe.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Forget it. Well, sign me up for the 7'6".
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, I didn't want to come up with all these variations of step up because, you know, a good wave and a big wave is a good wave and a big wave, no matter where you are. So,
and like you said, it depends on the individual.
Exactly.
Some guys like to go smaller. Some guys, older guys like ourselves will go a little longer into the 7'4", 7'6" foot range, where other guys can achieve the same thing on a 6'6" or a 6'4".
Exactly.
Thruster, quad, both ways, yeah.
Most of them come 5-pin setup. General rule of thumb is, you know, down the line, front side, hollow, fast waves. Most of my team prefers running the quads. If you tend to bite harder off the bottom, go with the thruster. Get a little texture on the wave, go with the thruster because that's the most stable one. Quads want to run fast, high, and down. Another key feature is I kind of went wider on my noses here. It's something I did with all my guns when the guy started paddling out Jaws. I used to be a competitive paddleboarder prone, and I took a lot of the concepts I had from paddleboarding into the big wave guns for Greg Long and Ian Walsh. They're going paddling at Cortez Bank, summer boards, all that. So I kind of did the same thing with the Carrera. I wanted it to paddle really, really well, even on the smaller sizes. And I don't do anything extreme with rockers or bottoms on it. I just want everything clean and flow.
Awesome. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like how you went from pretty much starting off in fish and short boards, shaping guns for Ian Walsh and Greg Long in 40-foot surf at Jaws and giant surf at Puerto Escondido. How did your career evolve into that direction?
It started with when I used to work for Dick Brewer, going to school at Point Loma. There's a little Toto scene, and Sunset Cliffs can have its days.
And blacks too.
And blacks, so I got exposed to a lot of that. Working with Brewer, I was also blessed to work around with Skip Fry. Working with Brewer really gave me the eye, and he worked with me, and I ended up shaping a lot of Brewer guns back in the day. That's when Johnny Wall approached me. It was on the very first Cortez trip, and Johnny Wall was like, I want a board, I'm gonna try paddling it, and it was unheard of at that time. And he trusted me because I worked for Brewer.
Yeah.
Johnny Wall was an amazing Sunset Cliffs surfer too. Brad Gerlach called me up, hadn't known him yet. He's like, man, Johnny Wall is my favorite surfer, I want a board. And then Brad introduced me to Greg Long, and then it snowballed from there.
That's incredible. And then Ian Walsh obviously has had some amazing sessions out at Jaws on your, it's like a light blue colored board, was it not?
Yeah, he won
Baby
it.
blue?
Yeah.
And he won on that board. And that had a unique shape.
Yeah, that was a hand shape actually. We were always trying to do something different. And Ian was a high maintenance team guy. I love the guy, but he was like, it was good because he made me work, and even with fins, he would send me his fins and I'd sand them down and I'd FedEx them back to him that one El Nino year when it was just swells up, swells. I go, you don't feel like you're gonna slip out? No, and I'd make them smaller and smaller. And the quads were so tiny. They're so much smaller on those 10-6 Jaws guns than they were a regular board. And that day that he won, we actually got in an argument because I was on the cliff overlooking, so I could see the waves a lot better. And he wanted to ride a 9.8 to fit in the West Bowl. I go, no, man, the tide's changing, everything's shifting over, man. There's some bombs.
You were his caddy that day.
And he's like, you better be right, and da-da-da. And I told his brother Luke, I go, don't let him take the 9.8 out.
Wow.
And that wave he got a perfect 10 on, there's no way he would have gotten in that thing on a 9.8.
Wow, so you picked the right club for him.
Luckily.
Let's talk about our good friend Brad Gerlach. Obviously, we both go way back with him, and he's been inspirational and influencing a lot of shapers. He's worked with Doc, he's worked with yourself, Xanadu. Tell us what it was like working with Brad Gerlach and sort of what influences he brought into your board designs.
Yeah, Brad first approached me in the early O's, again, through noticing Johnny Wall and surfing all that, and Brad was always one of my favorite surfers of all time. And he had a lot of influence and success to a lot of shapers that Brad wrote his boards. I mean, with the stuff he did with Doc, Xanadu, all that.
Even Linden back in the 80s.
Even Linden. I mean, and Xanadu, you got to give Xanadu credit for the new rocker era. I mean, that was him for the nose rockers and new tail rockers that we're all using now. It's surprising how many pro surfers don't know their equipment, and then there's a lot of surfers like Brad and Ian, back to Ian Walsh, and a handful of other guys, Kelly Slater I've been able to work with, that just really know their equipment, and then they know how to translate what works and what doesn't work. And there are also no BS. I don't want anyone afraid to hurt my feelings if something doesn't work. That's what makes me better. And the first 5 boards I made for Brad, he hated them.
Oh, really?
But I was young and hungry, and I'm like, oh, give me one more chance, give me one more chance. And then it clicked.
Yeah.
Good team riders make good shapers.
Yeah. All right, we got a few questions from some viewers that have been following Instagram. And they sent us in some questions. What is your favorite type of board to ride out of all your models?
Oh, man.
That's
I
a good
always
one.
say I never have a favorite. Gosh, well, again, I guess if I have to go with one board, I'm just going to say the Fish.
The Fish. And you said if you can only take one board, say on a trip to Indo or to Mexico, the Fish would be your choice.
Yeah.
What size?
I currently ride 5.6s.
Yeah. Next up, favorite model to shape?
Guns. They're the most rewarding, and I always equate them. They're like building parachutes. They have to work.
What fin do you recommend as the best all-around fin for the tradesman model?
For the tradesman model, nose rider, that's J.J. Wessels. Nose riders, the rockers are reversed on them. The nose of the blank is actually the tail of the board, so they got a lot of nose rocker. 10-inch fin, I can't specifically say one model. I always go the Greeno 4A, that's a classic. But anything in a 10-inch zone, you want to have a nice stable fin.
What's it been like, and a lot of people might not know this, but you designed snowboards for Jeremy Jones and his line of snowboards. Tell us a bit about that relationship and what's that meant for you in your career.
I love snowboarding. People ask, oh, you like surfing more than snowboarding? And I don't like one more than the other. It's part of my California lifestyle. I try to be in the water 100 days a year, try to be on snow 100 days a year. Jerry Lopez claims I have the working man's record. It's a hard feat to do, but I do it. Yeah, Jeremy was like my Tom Curran for my snowboarding world. We actually met surfing.
You met around a campfire, didn't you?
With our friend
JK
JK
as well.
Yeah, and then the next day we went surfing together, and I had just come back snowboarding, and he's kind of like, oh, shaper that snowboards. I always wanted to meet one.
Wow.
And I kind of like, yeah, man, you guys are doing it all wrong.
Here you are telling Jeremy Jones
Yeah.
he's designing snowboards
And
wrong.
now he's one of my best friends, travel companion, and we've been doing business together for, I think we're on our 15th year.
Yeah.
And now I have 5 pro models in the Jones line.
That's awesome. And you mentioned you spend a portion of the year up in your cabin near Mammoth Lakes, correct?
Yeah. I probably spend 50% of the time in the winter from Thanksgiving to Easter up there. I got a shaping room underneath my house, so I can still get work done, and
Little fly fishing in the
fly
spring and fall.
fishing and some motocross always.
Some backcountry.
Yeah, there's a lot of surfers that snowboard too, so it's awesome. I brought a lot of what I knew from building surfboards into snowboards, but I'm also learning what I'm learning from snowboards, putting it back into the surfboards.
What sort of techniques and design features have you been able to bring from snowboarding into surfing?
Simple as volume stuff, where side cuts are, where wide points are. Flexes is another big thing. Taper.
Right.
How a board works on rail with certain tapers, meaning from the width of the board from the nose to the tail.
Right.
And after, so a lot of stuff.
Chris, it's always good to hang out with you. We've known each other a few years.
Long time.
Played some softball back in the day. Here at Surfboard Factory Hawaii, we are so stoked. And it's a pleasure to have Chris Christenson shaping here at the factory. He's doing 50 boards this week.
53.
53 boards this week. We're going to have him on the showroom. And we hope to have Chris back again, taking custom orders and also doing some more boards for our showroom.
On customs or anything, hit up Marty, Surfboard Factory.
Right on,
I'll
man.
come back.
Awesome, dude. Thank
Thanks.
you.